In this world, everyone in society is a cell in the human body working to keep the body alive. The ones dressed in red are red blood cells, which deliver oxygen to the organs throughout the blood vessels. In white, we have white blood cells, which eliminate foreign substances. In black, the killer T cells dispense cells infected by viruses. Dressed as pink, the macrophages clean up the body. And the platelets, who look like kindergarten kids and are also responsible for repairing damaged blood vessels. We follow the story of John, a young red cell who will start his new life mission: to carry oxygen to other cells. The company uses a video to introduce him to the system he will be working on, and how to differentiate each different type of cell and its functions. John quickly takes notes of everything: cells, organs, functions, and routes, and gets immediately tasked to start his first delivery. He carries some boxes of oxygen in a cart and heads to the stomach, but he arrives late because he got lost on the way. The chief stomach cell scolds him for his late delivery, but tries to explain why he got late, and then quickly introduces him, just like he saw the chief stomach ask on the video. But the chief doesn't care about his name, revealing that the video was recorded during the time the body was healthy. But times change, he explains. Since then, the body has been through overwork, sleep deprivation, overeating, and drinking, which increases everyone's workload. John then finishes his first task and then continues moving on to his second delivery of the day. On the way, he meets Chad, a more experienced red blood cell who notices he's a rookie and decides to help him out in delivering oxygen to the brain. Suddenly, carbon monoxide starts to come out of the blood vessel vents and turn the rest of the red blood cells into dangerous zombies. Suddenly, a bacteria called pneumococcus shows up out of nowhere. This is a bacteria that causes pneumonia and kills cells to absorb nutrients. The bacteria try to attack them, but Sasha appears and slays the bacteria before they can kill and eat Chad and John. Chad then tells John to take another route back, while he sacrifices his life to finish his oxygen delivery to the brain. John tries to follow Chad, but Sasha stops him, and they then head toward the lungs to find out what caused the poisonous gas. In the lungs, both get shocked to see how dirty the place looks like. They see everything full of tar, and one of the cells tells him the human body smoked once again after 10 years. John went to the mouth room on his third delivery and noticed everything on fire. Suddenly, a bunch of bacteria starts to attack, but Sasha and her group manage to arrive in time to kill the new threat. John quickly thanks them, but there's another threat. A flood suddenly occurs. A human decided to gargle some mouthwash, almost killing any of the white and red blood cells in his mouth. Everyone manages to hold on and barely stay alive. John heads back and meets with his comrades, but work quickly starts to get messy when the sprinklers on the ceiling start to spray some alcohol. A veteran red blood cell then decides to show the rookies how to react and takes them to the liver to clean themselves up. They head their way into the liver and get inside a hostess bar. There, the hepatocytes feed them with ADH and ALDH to detoxify them from the alcohol effects. John looks around and sees everyone having a good time, but he, on the other hand, doesn't feel that happy about his life. He still remembers Chad sacrificing his life to deliver oxygen to the brain. Therefore, he doesn't consume his ALDH drink and starts to get drunk and rants about how they risk their lives to keep the organ cells running. While those same cells are having a carefree and chill life, one of the veterans splashes the ALDH on John's face to calm him down, and takes him to backstage, where he shows the hepatocytes are also overworking and having a bad time, leading to liver failure. The red blood cells are ready to work after enjoying a sweet break, but the veteran will not be coming with them. The old man passed away after many years of hard work and is devoured by a Kupfer cell to recycle his nutrients. John then apologizes to the hostess for expressing his anger. She forgives him and kisses his cheek before he departs. The brain sends a huge announcement a few hours later. This is the red blood cell's most important task. They must enter the erectile tissue and start an erection, enabling the human to mate and create a new life. John gets super excited about the chance to help bring a new life into the world. He and a few of his co-workers go to the corpora cavernosa, the male reproductive organ, to start their new job. He meets Sasha there and they go to the testes, where Sertoli cells take care of spermatogonia, which are male reproductive cells that grow into sperm. He then heads back to resume his job. He starts to spread and enter the tunnels to fulfill his duty, but the body is stressed, failing to create an erection and killing several red blood cells. However, things go back to normal after the body takes the miraculous medicine, sildenafil, also known as Viagra, enabling the red blood cells to resume their mission. The body is able to reach climax. Sasha appears a few minutes later and reveals they lost a fight because the body got infected by gonococci, an STD. The white blood cells can barely keep up fighting against the bacteria, and they go back to a lymph node to regroup, where the captain of the white blood cells tells them that gonorrhea can't be healed by natural means. On top of that, while on his next delivery, John sees Ken and the other red blood cells start to rant that the white blood cells aren't doing their job properly. John tries to calm them down, saying the white blood cells are trying their best to do their job, and then convinces Ken to continue their mission. They head to the lower parts of the body to deliver oxygen. There, they trip over a dead white blood cell-filled alley. A gonococci bacteria catches them off guard, but they get saved by a white blood cell, which then collapses from the previous extensive battle. Even though it's dangerous, the red blood cells keep going until they come across a group of white blood cells taken by the gonococci bacteria. The gonococci try to invite them to join the bacteria side because every other cell is afraid of the white blood cells, but they refuse to, and the bacteria decide to kill them. John starts talking about how much he appreciates the white blood cells' work, as he can only perform his job because they help them by making the blood vessels route safe. Suddenly, a light appears, making the gonococci's bacteria weaker. The body has taken penicillin, making it easier for the white cells to fight the bacteria and kill them, curing the body's STD disease. After getting past many problems, John finally starts to feel good about his work. During one of his deliveries, he is sent to the hair matrix cells, where he runs into Sasha, who is working out despite still being hurt from the fight against gonococci. The two of them talk, and Sasha says that he saved her life by taking the bacteria's attention away. But a killer T cell that passes by starts to insult her, blaming white cells for the killer T cell's increased workload. John resumes his delivery and finds out that hair follicles have inflammation. The body's psychological stress made one of the T cells go crazy, and is now attacking the hair matrix cells because it thinks they are cancer cells, forcing the body to get a bald spot. John tries to stop them by gathering some red blood cells to carry oxygen to the hair cells and keep them alive. But things get a lot worse when the crazy helper T cell sends out cytokines that make the crazy killer T cells even crazier, destroying everything, forcing some battle droids called steroids to appear and hold them back. John's plan somehow managed to save the hair roots, but he starts to wonder why he should keep working hard in this environment. Sometime later, John and Ken head to the kidneys to get a bath after falling and getting dirty during delivery. But the red blood cells can't escape the harsh truth that the body is weak. They find that the kidneys are just as busy and stressed out as everyone else. But Gran, who is in charge, won't let them rest or complain. She says the kidneys are quiet organs that should do their jobs without saying anything. But the body's condition only gets worse. The boys get back on delivery when they get in the way of a 1 centimeter kidney stone. It rips the ureter and kills many red blood cells in the urine. A tube is then suddenly put into the body through the urethra to break up the stone. Even though the tube has solved the problem of kidney stones, it has also caused a big problem. Bacteria called acute pyelonephritis have invaded the body. If the bacteria aren't taken care of, they can get into the bloodstream or, even worse, cause sepsis. John goes back to the kidneys and tells the glomeruli to leave while the white blood cells keep the bacteria away. But Gran tells them they can't go. Suddenly, a huge bacterium shows up and is about to kill a glomeruli. But Gran sacrifices her life to protect the young glomeruli, while also giving Sasha a chance to kill the threat. Before passing away, Gran apologizes for their workload, explaining that their word is important to the body. The body then takes some antibiotics, making the bacteria weaker and enabling the white blood cells to defeat the threat. John and Ken's next mission is to carry oxygen to the lower part of the body, where they find a deep vein thrombosis, which is a blood clot. Even worse, a senior red blood cell tries to kill them by kicking them into the blood clot. Lucky for them, Sasha comes just in time and saves them. The blood clot breaks up and moves through the body, killing red blood cells until it gets stuck in the pulmonary artery, causing the body to stop breathing. John has an idea and tells the red blood cells to go to the lungs through the brachial arteries. Some of the red blood cells follow John through the narrow brachial arteries and manage to provide an oxygen supply to the lungs, enabling them to dissolve the blood clot and survive. Sasha tells John that he saved the day and thanks him for his hard work. A few months later, the body gets a stomach ulcer, needing oxygen and nutrients from the red blood cells to heal. The stomach acid splashes start to kill a few red blood cells, making Ken run away in fear. But he eventually returns. It turns out that H. pylori is the cause of the ulcer, forcing Sasha and the other white blood cells to fight. The battle makes the ground shake, and a splash of stomach acid hits John's leg. Ken pulls him out of the acid, but then he falls into it and dies. John goes crazy, saying Ken is still alive, but a gastric cell smacks him on the head, telling Ken will never come back again. The body takes an appropriate external treatment to get rid of the infection, and the white blood cells win the fight. Everyone is happy after a long battle, but John is depressed. He blames himself for Ken's death and locks himself at home after passing by Sasha without saying a word to her. Sometime later, a big crystal shows up in the big toe. The white blood attack it because they think it is a germ, but they can't manage to hurt it. Instead, they hurt the area around it and cause inflammation. John, on the other hand, hasn't appeared at work for a while and starts to wander around aimlessly, ending up in the same place that Ken used to live in. He starts to blame himself once again for being the cause of Ken's death and goes back to the spleen begging to be killed because he doesn't want to work. But the spleen ignores his reasons and tells him to go back to work. Meanwhile, the body's cells figure out that the crystal is uric acid and that it has gout. John then suddenly shows up and starts attacking the body while convincing the cells to attack it instead of saving it. He claims there's no point in helping out the body because the human only makes their jobs harder. The human doesn't care about his health, then why should they care about his body? Sasha sees him getting injured while he attacks and hugs him, begging him to stop. She tells him that Ken's death was not his fault, while also saying they should take care of the body to honor their deceased friends. John suddenly falls to his knees and starts to cry. The body takes colchicine to treat the swelling and reduce the injury. But at the same time, some blood vessels start to get blocked by cholesterol and blood clots. Thanks to Sasha's words, John finally gets motivated and returns back to work. He then starts coaching new employees and taking them on deliveries. But the blood vessels have been breaking up and getting full of plaque, forcing the platelets to fix them, which makes it hard for John and his red blood cell companions to do their job. Suddenly, the coronary artery gets completely blocked, and the body gets a heart attack due to the lack of oxygen. The brain cells then decides to hold a press conference and tell everyone to stop working because the body is about to die. Soon, the heart stops beating and the body stops working. But John doesn't want to give up. He recently found a new motivation to stay alive, and he decides to search for some oxygen to try and revive the heart. The body starts receiving CPR, making the heart fibrillate. John gets back and checks the situation. He then quickly tells everyone to start delivering oxygen as soon as the body is revived. Some veteran red blood cells start arguing because they don't want to be forced to work in poor conditions again. But John shouts that he works because he wants to and starts chanting for the heart to start beating again. The CPR starts to take effect, and everyone starts to chant along until the heart starts beating again. A stent is then put into the coronary artery to open the blockage and restore blood flow. The red blood cells quickly start working on their deliveries, making sure all the body cells get enough oxygen to survive. Some time has passed, and the brain started to make the right decisions. It stopped consuming tobacco, alcohol, and unhealthy foods, becoming a healthy body and less stressed. Therefore, everyone's job starts to get easier, and everything starts to get cleaner. While making one of his deliveries, John runs into Sasha as she falls from the roof after destroying a germ. They decide to walk together while exchanging their admiration for each other until suddenly, a syringe penetrates the blood vessels. It starts to extract blood cells from the body, including John and Sasha. They soon wake up and are horrified to discover that they are in a new body, which is in a worse condition than their old one. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.